Good morning to one and all. I, Dr. Saroj Babar, on behalf of National Forensic Sciences University, Goa, and Honorable Vice Chancellor of National Forensic Sciences University, Padma Shri Dr. J.M. Vyas, am pleased to welcome you all to the National Workshop on latest trends in NDPS on the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. We are gratified and delighted by the presence of the dignitaries, Shri Jaspal Singh, IPS Director General of Police, Goa, Shri Navraj Goel, Commissioner of Customs, Goa, Shri Kapendra Sahu, Senior Scientist, National Dope Testing Laboratory, Delhi, Dr. Naveen Kumar Chaudhary, Campus Director, NFSU, Goa, Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Dean Academics, NFSU, Goa. Our campus director, Dr. Naveen Kumar Chaudhary, could not be present here physically due to unavoidable exigencies at the headquarters. Sir is going to join us online. A heartfelt thanks to all the dignitaries and all the participants. Before we move on, I would like to give a brief of the National Workshop on latest trends in NDPS on the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. This workshop aims to increase the awareness, expertise, and knowledge of the participants in NDPS case investigation and analysis to secure maximum conviction. The workshop will include a series of expert lectures and practical demonstrations on various aspects of narcotic drugs. The workshop is going to be beneficial for personnel from prosecuting agencies, students, and researchers. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Leaders from ignorance to truth, leaders from darkness to light, leaders from death to deathlessness. To embark the auspicious beginning of the National Workshop on latest trends in NDPS on the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, I would like to request all the dignitaries to come forward for lighting of the lamp. Thank you, sirs. Moving ahead, now I would like to request our Honorable Campus Director, Sir Dr. Naveen Kumar Chaudhary, for the opening address. Sir has been a professor of Cybersecurity and Dean at National Forensic Sciences University, Gandhinagar, since 2019. He holds a Bachelor of Technology degree in Information Technology and Telecommunication Engineering and a Master degree in Digital Communication. He also holds a Master of Business Administration degree in Human Resource Management. He earned his PhD in Engineering and Advanced Certifications in Cyber and Network Security. He heads the School of Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics and also holds additional charge of Director, Training and International Relations at NFSU Gandhinagar. He has an extensive experience of more than 25 years in engineering, education, research, and government. Before joining university as a full-time professor, Sir was director at the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. He has also served as faculty and head of the department in the Faculty of Communication Engineering at the Military College of Telecommunication Engineering, MAU, MP. In his official capacity as Joint Director and Director in the Government of India, he stirred many cutting-edge ICT projects. He worked extensively on policy formulation in cybersecurity and e-governance. As head of the University Cyber Defense Center, he has taken keen interest in optimizing the resources of CDC for training, consultancy, and R&D. He has been instrumental in introducing the latest verticals of cybersecurity at NFSU Cyber Defense Center. He is the recipient of a letter of appreciation of his contribution towards the cause of literacy from Brent St. Denis, MP, Algoma, Canada in 1994. Dubai Seva Award for his contribution to cybersecurity education in 2022 and COS and CCOSC commendation for his innovations and distinguished work in 2009 and 2015 respectively. Sir has recently been appointed as a courtesy research professor in Knight Foundation School of Computing and Information Science at Florida International University, Miami, USA. I now request Sir to deliver the opening address.
एक मिनट आपका ऑलरेडी
We can go ahead. Okay, namaskar. Am I audible? Okay, namaskar. Respected Sri Jaspal Singh Ji, Director General of Police, Goa State. Shri Navraj Goyal Ji, Commissioner Customs, Goa. Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Dean Academics, National Forensic Sciences University, Goa Campus. Senior faculty members, staffs, member of industry, sponsors, and my dear students. World Drug Day is marked on 26th June every year to strengthen action and cooperation in achieving a world free of drug abuse. The aim of this year's campaign is to raise awareness about the importance of treating people who use drugs with respect and empathy, providing evidence-based voluntary services for all, offering alternatives to punishment, prioritizing prevention, and leading with compassion. The campaign also aims to combat stigma and discrimination against people who use drugs by promoting language and attitudes that are respectful and non-judgmental. NFSU Goa, being premier forensic institution in this region, aims to promote awareness about drug abuse and also support the law enforcement agencies in investigation under the special mandate that has been given by the Government of India to NFSU under CRPC 293. Drug abuse is not only a regional problem, but it has global dimensions. Therefore, close watch by the law enforcement agencies in the virtual domain, especially dark web marketplaces and anonymous communication networks operational through social media is the need of the hour. This demands developing specialization in this domain so the law enforcement people can be swiftly and securely work against the operators. Besides this, our law enforcement agencies depends largely on foreign-made kits and tools for drug and psychotropic substances detection. There's a need to develop our own indigenous solutions. Startups need to come forward. They need to venture in the domain of forensic sciences to develop affordable and cost-effective, user-friendly kits for the law enforcement agencies. This will also increase the conviction rate in the country on the charges related to NDPS. The other important aspect related to drug abuse is psychological aspects. People first stop stigma and discrimination and strengthen prevention. The drug problem is a complex issue that affects people adversely. Many people who use drugs face stigma and discrimination, which can further harm their physical and mental health and prevent them from accessing the help they need. There is a need to recognize the importance of taking a people-centered approach to drug policies with a focus on human rights, compassion, and evidence-based practices. NFSU has invited subject matter experts from the domain of NDPS, and they will be taking sessions over a period of 2 days. We have also invited experts from the industry, and they will conduct a demonstration on latest tools that are available in NDPS domain. I am sanguine this workshop on latest trends in NDPS on the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking will have many takeaways for the participants. I hope they will translate the learnings from this workshop into professional use as their contribution for making society free of drug abuse. I also thank the faculties for taking initiative to organize this event and sponsors from the industry for sponsoring this event. Namaskar and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the opening address and highlighting the current needs to circumvent drug abuse in our country and on international level. Moving ahead, I would like to request all the dignitaries to please occupy their places on the dais. A flower's appeal is in its contradictions, so delicate in form, yet strong in fragrance, so small in size, yet big in beauty, so short in life, yet long on effect. With these thoughts, I request Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Dean Academics, NFSU Goa, to welcome Shri Jaspal Singh, Director General of Police, Goa, with a bouquet of flowers and a shawl. Thank you, sir. I would like to request Dr. Rakesh Yadav, Associate Professor, NFSU Goa, to welcome Shri Navraj Goel, Commissioner of Customs Goa, with a bouquet of flowers. Thank you, sir. I request Shri Raman Kumar, Deputy Registrar, NFSU Goa, to give a floral welcome to Shri Kapendra Sahu, Senior Scientist, National Dope Testing Laboratory, Delhi. Thank you, sir. May I now request Shri Doa Nani, Workshop Coordinator, to give a floral welcome to our Dean Academics, Dr. Lokesh Chauhan. Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, now I would like to request Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Dean Academics, NFSU Goa, to deliver the welcome address. Dr. Lokesh Chauhan is an Associate Professor in Computer Science and Information Technology at NFSU Goa and also the Dean Academics at NFSU Goa. Sir has also held the position of Dean Academics and Assistant Professor of Computer Science at the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Surat. Sir has also served as an Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department at Maulana National Institute of Technology, Hamirpur, and also at Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal. Sir holds a PhD in the area of cognitive radio from the Department of Information and Communication Technology from the Indian Institute of Information, Technology and Management, Gwalior, India. His research interest spans a range of topics including computer networks, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and forensics. In addition to that, Sir is also interested in Internet of Things, smart city, and application of Android. He has both teaching and industrial experience, and his work has been published in numerous national and international journals and conferences. Additionally, he has obtained several Indian patents in the field of IoT. He is a contributing reviewer for esteemed journals published by ACM, IEEE, Elsevier, IET, and Springer. I request Sir to please deliver the welcome address.
Good morning to all respected dignitaries. A very warm welcome to all of you gathered here today on this special occasion of inaugural ceremony of national workshop on latest trend in NDPS. Basically, this is one of the initiative which we are conducting, which is a part of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. So it is honored to have such distinguished guests among us. So starting with, firstly, I would like to extend my heartfelt welcome to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Satpal ji, IPS Director General of Police. Sir, your dedication and commitment in maintaining law and enforcement in our Goa state is really commendable. So we are honored to have you here with your busy schedule, sir. We are also privileged to have Mr. Navraj Goyal, Commissioner Custom Department Goa, among us. Your persistent commitment to ensuring safety and security of our border is truly inspiring. Thank you for gracing this occasion with your presence, sir. I also want to welcome Dr. Kapendra Sahu. He is senior scientist at National Drug Doping Test Laboratory and friend of mine. Your invaluable contribution towards drug testing and research is highly appreciated. We are honored to have you here today to share your expertise with us. A warm welcome is also extended to our director, Honorable Director, Professor Naveen K. Chaudhary. He is not here but present online. So his continuous guidance and uninterrupted support always motivate us. He is also playing important role to shaping our institute. We are grateful for your online presence here today. I would also like to welcome all delegate and participants who have joined us from various parts of the country. Your presence will definitely add value to this event, and we are grateful to your participation. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all the sponsors, Lab India, and Encore, and Quicksoft and Analytics Limited for financially support us. No event is successful without actual contribution from the student and volunteer. So I would like to also thank our volunteers and organizer who have worked tirelessly to make this event success. Your dedication and commitment are truly commendable. Today here we are all now celebrating and observing International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Drug abuse has devastating effect on individual, society and communities. So it is a collective responsibility of each of us to raise awareness, educate and prevent drug abuse. Now come to this workshop. This 2-day workshop will definitely serve a platform for various expert researcher and practitioners to share their knowledge and expertise. I am confident in the next 2 days, you will be fulfilled with various insights, inspiring discussion and networking opportunities. So together, let us work towards creating a society where every individual can live healthy, productive and fulfilling life. Thank you. And I wish all a successful and enriching workshop. Thank you everyone and welcome.
Thank you, sir, for delivering the welcome speech, and thank you for your motivating words. It is a great privilege to have Shri Navraj Goyal, Commissioner of Customs, Goa, among us. Sir has done LLB from Department of Laws, Punjab University, Chandigarh. India, specializing in intellectual property laws, and Master in Mass Communications from Department of Mass Communication, Punjab University, Chandigarh. He belongs to 2002 batch of Indian Revenue Service, IRS, Customs and Central Excise. Sir has held various positions in Customs Department from May 2004 till date, from anti-smuggling to policy formulation. He was associated with 6 union budgets and involved in many regulatory reforms such as Customs Cargo Service Provider Regulations, which regulates the custodians such as ports, airports, ICDs. Courier import and export regulations to provide for an enabling environment to express shipments. Sabka Vishwas litigation dispute resolution scheme to resolve the pending cases under the Central Excise and Service Tax laws. Sir was on deputation to central government as Additional Development Commissioner, Handicrafts from 2013 to 2015. And he framed the integrated scheme for the promotion and development of handicrafts in the country. Sir also writes poetry. His first book of Punjabi poems, Rakh Vich Ukriya Lakira, was published in 2021. Sir, I would like to request you to enlighten us with your wise words.
Good morning to everyone present. Shri Jaspal Singh sir, who's my senior Director General Police Goa, Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Shri Shahu, and all the lovely people present in this room, especially the students. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to the university for giving me the opportunity to come and spend some time here with you. It's a great privilege. And while I was listening to Dr. Chaudhary speak about the theme of this year's International Drug Day, or to correctly say International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, it's more towards the rehabilitation of the people who are actually victims of drug abuse, the need to be having more compassionate approach towards them. And so that they are again, rehabilitated in the society, they can lead a normal life. I am primarily concerned with drug law enforcement, so this is little off my charter of duties, but still I would say it's an important area, and it gives me at least, a sense of urgency in the performance of my duties. Because ultimately it's our youth, it's our young people who are, at the most vulnerable when it comes to drugs. Like, of the many things that can go wrong in a young person's life, drug is probably the most dangerous, and it's the number one enemy of our future, of our youth. But when I talk about my challenges as a law enforcer, those challenges, they primarily fall into two categories. The first one, as I was talking to Dr. Chauhan early in the morning, the total number of narcotics and psychotropic substances available on this planet perhaps will never be documented. We will not know how many exact number of molecules, such molecules are there. And what compounds the problem is that these molecules are constantly being invented. New molecules are coming into force, more powerful molecules are coming into force. So that compounds the problem to a great extent. If I do not know what is it that I'm supposed to catch, then how will I catch it? And the second challenge is, if the newly invented drugs, if those drugs which have not been documented, they are just flying under the radar, they are not covered under the Law Enforcement Act. So by and large, they are illegal. They are living in a very dark area, very area in which you and I are ignorant about. So that's not a very desirable position. So as a member of scientific community, as young people venturing into scientific field, as students of science, this could be one area of probe for all of you. that we should know what various kind of drugs are there which are still yet to be documented, brought under the formal ambit of law. Because the feedback that you will give to the policymakers will be scientific feedback. It will not be based on hearsay. It will be backed by solid evidence. So your feedback matters. And that's where your role as science, students of science, as science educators becomes very important. You have to keep your ears and eyes open. You have to keep the debate, the level of public discourse informed about the various drugs, narcotics, and psychotropic substances available. And slightly attached to it, a slightly different dimension of the problem is that given the financial implications involved in the illicit traffic, given the financial resources that these people who are into trafficking of drugs, the amount of resources that are available at their disposal, they are far ahead of us in terms of innovation. They are far ahead of us in terms of use of scientific methods. But the purpose is entirely different. The purpose is to break the law. You are here, your purpose is to support the law. But they have so huge financial resource, financial muscle available at their disposal that they are always 2 steps ahead of us. Just 15 days ago at Ahmedabad airport, customs got a consignment of something called black cocaine. So black cocaine is something that I haven't heard about before. I was always under the impression that cocaine is white, And it was not that the color of the cocaine was black. Even the chemical properties of cocaine were camouflaged. Like all your drug detection kits failed. The canines could not spot it, whether it's cocaine or any other circumstance. Even the chemical properties were altered. So your kit will not tell me whether it's a drug. The dogs are, again, they can't sniff it out. So what do I do? So that's where my problem as a law enforcer becomes obvious. And this is what I want you to be sensitized about. Because at airports, the time is of essence. I cannot hold the person indefinitely pending confirmation from your people that this is actually a drug, right? No court will support my stand that, okay, I can put this guy behind bars for 20 days, 2 months, pending the report from the laboratory that this is actually drug. What happens if it does not turn out to be drug? What happens then? So that's where the real problem is. That's where our challenge is, because we have to match our wits with those people who are far ahead of us in every respect. So they are using innovative, novel methods to even camouflage the properties of drugs. So that's where the real challenge is for all of us. And at another level, we have to, as Mr. Chauhan was referring to, and Mr. Chaudhary earlier, he also referred to, the entire process of handling of evidence, analyzing the content of the substance that we have caught, it has to stand the test of the court, And in the courts, the standard of evidence is very high. It is beyond a reasonable, doubt. There's no scope of doubt. Your case has to be so watertight. And with these kind of instruments, which are not able to even tell me what kind of drug it is. Like I have a personal experience of a case where the drug detection kit told me that it is a chemical X. And when I spoke to the laboratory people where I sent the sample, they said, no, it is not chemical X. It is still a drug, but it is not chemical X. It is some other chemical. So now you imagine the kind of implication this fact itself will have on my evidence gathering, will have on my case, its credibility, whether it will stand the test in a court of law, and how to go about it. And court will ask me, you have all the scientific methods available with you, and still at the first instance, your findings were wrong. So what do I tell the court? So this is where the problem gets really serious and complicated. We need to come up with better methods of detecting drugs, of analyzing it, so that there is no scope for variation in findings, because the findings have to remain same. If there is a variation in finding, that casts doubt on the quality of evidence that you have gathered during your investigation. And Dr. Chaudhary was also referring that how we are using imported kits to do all this function and how these kits are not indigenously developed. This is also a very important dimension of the problem. The local innovation has to come. The local innovation can take into account the local concerns. My concerns as a law enforcer may not be the same as a law enforcer, my counterpart, say in Mexico or in US. I have different drug problem. I have a different way of people trafficking drug problem. I have a different way of people concealing them, using them. So the local wisdom, local experience must inform the tools that I use, the tools that are provided to me to enable me to do my jobs. So with these few words, I am just leaving the floor without giving you any answers, but with questions, because those are important questions. If I just give you answers and we become smug, we say everything is okay, everything is good. Everything is not good. Things need to improve, things need to get better. And for that, our hopes are you people, that you will come up with such tools which will strengthen our hands so that these people, as and when we catch them, they don't escape the punishment that is mandated for them under the law. Because every time I catch them and I'm forced to let go of them, they become even more emboldened. My task becomes even more difficult. So this is where the real key lies, that as a students of science, we have to be, matching these guys step by step, each act by each act, that, okay, if you can come up with black cocaine, we are also ready. You may come with pink cocaine also, blue cocaine also, but we are ready. And for that, a real intellectual endeavor is required. It's not that we will just react that now a black cocaine thing has come up, now we will study it, now we will try to come up with methods which can analyze it. That possibility to develop a black cocaine was always there, always present. And as students of science, I should be able to document all these possibilities, that this is how this substance can be camouflaged, this is how its chemical properties can be suppressed. And again, once it passes through the channels, again, whenever you want it, those properties can again be turned on. So this is where I request all of you young mind, brilliant people, to please devote your energies, please devote your thinking capabilities, come up with better tools, and let us do our job together. Let us ensure that this country is free from drugs. Let us ensure that our youth is safe. Let us ensure that the future of this country is secure. With these few words, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your challenges that you face as a law enforcement agency. I'm sure that among the audience, we have many budding scientists who would come up with new technologies which will help the law enforcement agencies in better detection of the advanced types of drugs in the market. Shri Jaspal Singh, IPS Director General of Police, Goa, is also among us, and we are honored to have him here. He has held several important positions throughout his career, including Superintendent of South Goa District, SSP Crime and Intelligence, Pondicherry, DCP North East Delhi, DCP Central Delhi, SP Andaman's District, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and many more such positions. The Lieutenant Governor of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands has commended Sir for his outstanding performance during the tsunami. The President's Police Medal for Outstanding Services was also given to Sir. In addition, the Police Commissioner and the Directors of the Intelligence Bureau have written him several notes of appreciation. I would request Sir to give his remarks on this occasion.
Mr. Navraj Goel, my colleague in the civil service and Commissioner Customs, Goa. Mr. Neeraj Kumar Chaudhary, who was here with us a few minutes before in his digital avatar. Mr. Kapendra Sahu, he is senior scientist with the National Dope Laboratory, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Dean Academics, Mr. Chauhan, Director FSL, Mr. Wagmare, my colleague in the police department, Sucheta Bhanudas, members of the faculty, dear students. Drug trade is a very complex trade, as said by Commissioner Customs. There is no one exclusive agency which can handle this problem. So therefore, a very coordinated and concerted approach is required. So today, on the day of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, it is a commendable effort on the part of NFSU that today they have decided to hold this 2 days workshop to educate and make young scientists aware about the dynamics, about the structure, and about the complexities of the drug trade. As a law enforcer, primary law enforcer, police department is in the forefront of fight against drug. So therefore, I will be confining my talk basically to the structure of the drug trade, various dimension, and drug being used as a strategic tool by the international community, by certain countries, by certain non-state and state actors, and how do law enforcers strategize to deal with the drug trade. The first and foremost, the drug is intimately connected with the tourism trade. So if we study the scenario, international scenario of drug trade, you would find that most of the drugs find its route to the iconic tourist center, whether it is Goa, whether it is Ajmer, whether it is San Francisco, whether it is Thailand, whether it is Singapore, so many other international tourist destinations. Why? Because there is a demand. When people go to these tourist destinations, they have the purchasing power, they have the leisure, and they just wanted to freak out. They just wanted to enjoy life. So therefore, the maximum efforts of law enforcers are concentrated on these markets. And certain international agencies, particularly one of our neighbor countries and a neighbor country of that neighbor country, they use drug as a tool of policy. And I've been told, and certain central security agencies have also found out that when a smuggler, because Mr. Goel is with us, smugglers have always been there and they will continue to be there, whether we fence our border or whether we do not fence our borders. So these agencies of our neighboring country, to ignore the presence of smugglers, what they do is that they ask the smugglers, if you are able to smuggle out this 2 kg of drug to your country, then we will ignore your presence on our border. So they are using it as a tool of foreign policy. Then there is another trend, narco-terrorism. Afghanistan, Colombia, many other countries, South American countries, they've been using drug as a part of narco-terrorism. Afghanistan, particularly the Taliban, they have been using for quite some time drugs as a revenue generator, and then that revenue goes into the acquisition of sophisticated firearms, which they use against popularly elected governments. They've been, using this against American forces and combined forces of the European countries when Afghanistan was in trouble. So therefore, the structure of drug trade is very, very complicated. There are large number of players, and it is in fact the prime example of a syndicated crime. In crime language, like a business organization, there is a hierarchy. Similarly, in the drug trade also, there are large number of syndicates. People have been given responsibility function-wise and territory-wise. Okay, who will deal with which territory, who will deal with the acquisition, who will arrange transport, who will arrange advocates, and who will arrange, sometimes they adopt questionable methods. They try to, influence the public servant. Okay, who will take care of officials in the police department, prosecution, and other related department, including the judiciary. So therefore, the foremost challenge for law enforcement is that they have to deal with a very, very organized syndicate. So sometime, during the course of our interaction with the public, people come forward and say, okay, why we are not able to bring the drug trade to zero? Because drug trade is not confined only to our country or our state. It is an international problem. Sometimes regular armed forces have also been used against the drug manufacturer, grower of plants from which the drugs are derived. For example, in Colombia, sometimes US Army have also launched several operations. But now, Colombia, there is some control in the drug trade, so which was actually affecting the European countries and the North American countries. Basically, for the police, there are two aspects of drug trade. As forensic scientists, you should understand the front end also, because you will be at the back end. Certain parcels, certain seizures would be coming to you for investigation, for analysis. But as a back end scientist, you need to understand what kind of drugs are available. As Mr. Goel he explained at length that there are new chemicals, new molecules which are emerging day in and day out. And the existing, the extant technologies available are not able to detect those. So that is a kind of predicament for the law enforcer and for the judicial system also. So therefore, we need to concentrate as law enforcer on two sides. There are two basic binaries in the drug trade. First is demand, and second is supply. Okay, how we have to reduce demand for drug and stop supplies from coming to our country, from coming to our internal borders. So in demand, basically we try to educate people about the ill effects of drug on your individual health, on the health of your family, and on the health of society in which you live, and also on the political economy of the country. Because drug does not affect an individual, it affects the whole family. When you are addicted to a drug, and after addiction, you develop an urge to get more and more of that drug. So therefore, when there is a lack of money, the particular individual, he starts stealing his parents' money, his friends' money, and when that gets choked, when he's discovered out, then he goes out and commits crime. So much so that even when we bring a person who is addicted to drug to the police station, even the police has to manage to get some drug so that he is given his regular dose before he is put on de-addiction in the jail. So it is a very, very complex trade, complex problem, and sometimes it is a predicament also. And when we push people to bring those people who are seen, particularly in metropolitan Delhi area, railway station, Paharganj, the police officers are hesitant. Why? Because they have to shell out money to purchase drug, to administer the required dose to that particular person who is addicted to drug. Supply, of course, whenever we catch, because there are multiple players, police is there, customs is there, Coast Guard is there, Indian Navy is there, Railway Protection Force is there, because drug comes in Goa is about smuggling of ganja. There are certain states, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh. So whenever there is a labor coming from that state, they bring in their trunks in the railway, and sometimes we do random check also, and people have been arrested also. So that is how we actually try to choke supplies. The other strategy which the police department uses is we try to go to the source of the drug. First source, second source, third source. कहाँ से आ रही है? अगर एक पान वाला, if a pan vendor is selling small doses of drugs, who is supplying the pan vendor? And who is supplying that supplier? So we in police department tries to go back, try to work out the backward linkages, because this is the only way we can break the nexus, because it is a very, very organized crime, as I said it in the beginning. So then we try to, find out the source and inform the concerned state also that this kind of supply is coming from your state. Then because ultimately drug trade is a very profitable trade. You might have read in the papers, you might have seen that movie also, Utta Punjab, because Punjab is one of the major affected state, because it is bordering Pakistan, and it is very easy to smuggle drug from across the border. As I said earlier, there are agencies who are promoting drug trade across the border because it suits them. Because if you are able to weaken the border state, then half victory is already there, because there will not be strong resistance in the case of hostilities between both the countries, if there are armed hostilities with the country. So therefore they are using drug as a means of foreign policy. When we try to, ultimately, since a lot of money is generated in the drug, so we try to take action under SAFEMA. SAFEMA is Smuggling and Foreign Exchange Management Act like. So recently Goa Police has served a notice on one supplier who was a foreigner. He had earned hell lot of money from this trade. He had married a local girl and they were running a restaurant. So we have recovered the motor vehicles, we've recovered the cash, and there were some cash dealings, unaccounted entries in the account of that lady. So SAFEMA we also try today, because this is where you can actually hit the drug trade. Because if you are able to seize the proceeds of drug trade, ill-gotten wealth, then we can strike at the root of, because nobody wants to lose a house which he has built, nobody wants to lose the vehicles which he has acquired, and nobody wants to break his family. So SAFEMA is a very, very important tool, but these are very, very cumbersome law. So another constraint in securing conviction under narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, which is a constraint for us, for customs and for other agencies, is because it is a very stringent law. Provision of bail is not there and punishments are very severe. So whenever we enact stringent laws, we build in controls in the law so that we are not, the law enforcement agencies are not able to misuse the provision of the law. So they, whenever you have to search a person, you have to secure the presence of a magistrate. Now, magistrate is not a trained police officer. When he goes to the witness box, defense is easily able to, breach his or impeach his character, and difficult questions are asked. So similarly, the Supreme Court has also been, evaluating the act, and then they have been coming out with new observations about the law, saying that if a particular officer has seized the drug, he will not be the investigator. So in our large number of cases, the accused were able to secure the bail because the person who had seized the drug, he was the investigating officer. But when it happened, the law was not there. The Supreme Court's observation was not there. So that also has affected, because sometimes stringency of a law also acts as a constraint. So we have to be very particular in investigation. And similarly, where your role comes, once you have analyzed a drug, so you will also be asked very difficult questions, because it's a question of 10 years behind the bars, 14 years behind the bars. So defense lawyers will ask you a number of questions. So when you are testing a drug, you should be thorough in understanding your protocols. And I would request the NFSU that there should be some moot court kind of sessions also, so that the young forensic scientists, they are able to understand the court environment. They are able to understand how to prepare for giving evidence in a court of law, what kind of questions will be asked. Even a trained prosecutor can be invited for giving a talk. Because I once went to United States for attending a course with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So they have number of sessions and they have booklets, how to depose in a court of law, how you should be dressed so that judge is not offended, how you have to reply respectfully to the questions of the defense lawyer, how you have to reply to the judicial intervention by the judge. So all these things are very, very important in mastering your profession, because you may be at the back end, but when a judge has to convict a person, he wants to be doubly sure that the substance which was seized by the policeman, by the police officer, it was indeed a drug and it was not a plant. So that, and there could be sometimes meeting of the minds between the forensic scientist and between the police officers. So therefore, a judge has to be doubly sure. Why I'm telling this is as brand ambassadors of law enforcers, people would be talking to you. You also have to tell them that drug trade is a very, very complicated trade. And that is why the government of India, because of its complications, the government of India has come out with number of structures, number of mechanisms to deal with the severe problem in the country. They have come out with an NCORD mechanism. NCORD is National Coordination Mechanism, which is headed by the Union Home Secretary. All the DGPs of the country, they are members of that mechanism. Customs is member of that mechanism. Controller General of Drug is a member. So there are a whole lot of department. So ultimately, since it is a very complicated, so it requires a coordinated approach. For senior forensic scientists are a member of that board. And the problem with the drug trade is when a drug is made, sometimes there are certain ingredients which are exported by India. there are companies which have got licenses to manufacture amphetamines. And those amphetamines are exported to United States because United States is the largest consumer of psychotropic drugs, diazepam जिसे हम कहते हैं ना, कि sometime because it's a very capital oriented industry, people have lot of stresses and they consume lot of such drugs. And when there is a manufacturing facility, not necessarily that the whole manufacturing, the whole capacity will be utilized for export production. Sometime certain part of the drugs find its way to the society, and those ingredients are used to manufacture narcotic substances and psychotropic substances. So that again is a challenge. That is why the Controller General of Drugs is also a member of the National Coordination Mechanism. And being a tourist destination, particularly if we talk, large number of foreigners, they come to Goa, they land at other airports, but they use local transport, and sometimes drug is smuggled through that. And a new mechanism was observed by us, and we sensitized the couriers also. Now the drug is ordered through couriers. This mechanism is also used. Some courier will come, and in that courier parcel there will be drugs. So we have sensitized the couriers also. And with the digital technology, it has become very easy to order, because policing the digital traffic is very difficult. Yes, we can take somebody's mobile telephone on interception, but you cannot police the digital traffic. So dark web is used for ordering drugs, and crypto payment is made in cryptocurrency. Now cryptocurrency is not in the mainstream. It is not a legal tender. So therefore it is not controlled by the government of India. So these are various kinds of complication. That is why the government has come out with the coordinated mechanism. At the national level, as I said, NCOD is there, then state coordination mechanism, which is headed by the chief secretary. And at the district level, there is a mechanism which is headed by the district magistrate. And then there are task forces. Goa state also has a task force which has members from customs, from Narcotic Control Bureau, Indian Coast Guard, Indian Navy. So a whole lot of agencies are dealing with this problem. Apart from that, the Ministry of Social Welfare, it has also come in a big way, and in the current year they have launched Nasha Mukt Bharat, that the districts will organize a year-long campaign in which youth and young people will be motivated to avoid consumption of narcotic substances, alcohol. So there are a whole lot of activities being taken. But as forensic scientists, your role is of seminal importance, because if your evidence convinces the judge that what was seized from this accused, it was indeed a drug of high potency. Because when you are analyzing a drug, you have to tell that it is of this potency. So therefore, your techniques should be very, very perfect. And if you see English movies, you might have seen, because it is a very important genre in Hollywood. The most grilled person is the forensic scientist. Because if you are able to impeach the conduct of a surgeon who has conducted the autopsy in case of murder, or a scientist who has analyzed the substance, then the accused is sure to go scot-free. So therefore, the role of forensic scientist, particularly under narcotic and psychotropic substances, is of great importance. It is your deposition, your conviction of the judge that what we recovered was indeed a narcotic or psychotropic substance, and it was of high potency, and this is generally not available in the country, because that is also said by scientists would say the active ingredients are generally not available. That further convinces the judge that the person he is dealing with, he is a part of a syndicate and he has links across the borders also. So therefore, I would once again thank you, the NFSU faculty and the director, that today they had organized this 2-day seminar, because this seminar will definitely go a long way in making you aware about the dynamics of drug trade at the macro level and what are the various methodologies of analyzing the drugs. And apart from the academics, such workshops also play important role. And as it was said by Mr. Chauhan, that networking, and then you understand from others, peer learning. So I would like the university to send in small batches whenever a drug trial is being conducted. Supposing a trial is being conducted in a court of law, and as audience maybe small 3, 4 people, particularly on the day when the investigating officer is being examined and the forensic scientist is being examined, that will give you the required wherewithal to deal with the problem as a back-end part of the law enforcement machinery. So with these words, because I think I've already exceeded my quota of time, so it was indeed wonderful talking to the young scientist. And I also want to give one more piece of information which is not connected with the today's event. The government of Goa has come out with the implementation of Apprentices Act, because when you pass out, you may not immediately get the employment. So now Goa has made it mandatory for various departments to keep apprentices under the Apprentices Act 1961. So even we as a department and our forensic science laboratory, because we are short of manpower, so trained scientists can be recruited as apprentices, and emoluments vary according to your qualification. If you are a graduate, and initial emoluments would be 13,000 plus other allowances. But that is better than being without a job. But it will give you a lot of exposure, because you will be working in a live laboratory and you will be working with the law enforcers. So thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge in the area of NDPS and illicit drug trafficking. I would like to request Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, Dean Academics, NFSU Goa, to facilitate sir with a memento and a certificate. I would like to request Lokesh sir to facilitate Shri Navraj Goyal sir also, Commissioner Customs, Goa. Thank you, sir. We have now reached to the end of the inaugural function, and before we depart for the high tea, I would like to request Shri Raman Kumar, Deputy Registrar, NFSU Goa, to deliver the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Namaskar. Good morning. Our distinguished guest, Sri Jaspal Singh Ji, IPS, DG Ponda, DG Goa, Sri Navraj Goyal Ji, Commissioner Customs Department, Goa, Dr. Kapendra Sahu, Senior Scientist, NDTL, Delhi, Dr. Wagmarya Sir, Director, SFSL, Goa, Dean Academics, Lokesh Chauhan Ji, our guests from police departments, custom department, my dear participants, good morning to all of you. So today we have gathered here on the occasion of conducting a workshop. This workshop is organized on the topic of latest trend in NDPS, narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. This workshop is being organized on the occasion of International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. I feel that atmosphere has already been set by our distinguished guests who has given enormous amount of knowledge and information to all of us. And atmosphere is now a lot of questions and challenges has been put forth in front of all of you. On the course of this workshop, we are going to discuss many topics, and as Sir rightly told, we have a session on dark web also, sir, how the things are being done, carried out in the dark web. That also one session is there, sir. So over 10% of the population in the world right now is addicted to drugs today. Drug addictions begins when a person has some problem, discomfort, or sorrow, such as teenager finding it difficult to feed it, or an adult losing his job. Using drugs or alcohol appears to solve the problem, so he uses them repeatedly. At this point, his body gets habituated to the drugs or alcohol and consequently shuts down all logic and reasons. The person has become an addict. His sole aim in life is to do whatever it takes to satisfy his cravings. So addiction is such kind of things. There is a verse in our Gita, Anek chit vibhranta mohjal samavritaha prasaktaha kam bhogeshu patantu narkakesu. It means bewildered by innumerable fancies, trapped in the wave of delusion, addicted to desires and enjoyments, they descend into a fall hell. Sri Krishna summarized the life cycle of a person with devilish tendencies, which looks worryingly similar to that of a drug addict. The person in question has an underlying sense of incompleteness or sorrow. Fulfilling a selfish desire, no matter how significant, gives him a temporary burst of joy. He wants to repeat this sensation, he wants more of it, and thus becomes addicted to desires and enjoyments. The more he does so, the more power he gives to his emotional mind and takes power from his reasoning and intellect. He is trapped in the wave of delusion. All he can think about now is more and more desires to fulfill and the means to fulfill them. Whether or not a drug addict or a highly materialistic person literally falls into hell is a different story. But a life of addiction, a life where inert substances make us dance to their tune, a life where there is no higher aim or goal, and most importantly, a life where the intellect has taken a backseat is no different than any hell with fire and brimstone in it. I have been assigned the task for giving the vote of thanks. Now the time has come to conclude the session. So first and foremost, I would like to thank our chief guest, Honorable DGP Goa, Sri Jaspal Singh sir. Sir, you are kind enough to accept our invitation and spare your valuable time for this workshop. Your presence at this moment has made this occasion more important for all of us. Your speech on the occasion has added more value to this function, and participants would have also got an idea about the subject matter by listening to this. Thank you very much, sir. I would also like to thank our guest, Sri Navraj Goyal sir, Commissioner Customs Goa, for accepting our invitation and grace the occasion by your presence. Thank you for sparing your valuable time with us on this occasion and enlighten us on the subject matter for which the workshop is being organized with your immense experience. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our main speaker and expert of the workshop, Dr. Kapendra Sahuji, Senior Scientist, NDTL, Delhi. Sir, the day will be yours today while proceeding further with our workshop, and hope the kind of experience and expertise you are having in this field that our participants will get quite valuable knowledge during the course of this workshop. Thank you for accepting the invitation and coming here for such a long distance. Thank you very much. I would like to thank our campus director, Professor Dr. Naveen Kumar Chaudhary, under whose guidance and leadership we are organizing this workshop. Due to some urgent and also important work, he has been forced to drop his program to attend the workshop. However, because of his interest and involvement for this program, he could not stop himself and made his presence through online. Thank you very much, sir, for your encouragement and guidance. I would also like to thank our Dean Academic, Dr. Lokesh Chauhan, for his guidance and leadership. With your guidance, we could able to organize this workshop at this moment. Sir, thank you very much. There is saying that money is not everything, but without money you will not able to do many things. Therefore, on this occasion, I would like to thank our sponsors. Without their support, the workshop could not be able to think it out. So thank you, our sponsors for this workshop, Messrs. Lab India Analytical, Messrs. Ancrom Enterprises, Messrs. Quicksoft, Messrs. Anatech Services. Thank you very much for your contribution. I would like to thank our organizing team, Mr. Dovanani, Ms. Glorita Fernandez, and also the other members who has contributed in arranging the things for the workshop. You have done excellent work. The kind of weather we were facing and the kind of limited manpower and resources we have, this is the excellent work what you people have done. Thank you very much for all this. I would like to thank Dr. Mrs. Saroj Babar for wonderful anchoring to the occasion also. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all of our participants. Without your presence and support, this workshop itself could not be thought out. Hope all of you will gain a lot of valuable knowledge during the course of the workshop. Many experts, local and also from outside, with having full of experience in the respective fields, is going to take the lecture, which will enhance your domain knowledge. Thank you, one and all, for coming and making your valuable presence to the occasion. Now we are going to take a small break by concluding this inaugural session. High tea has been arranged in the classroom on the opposite side. All of you are welcome and kindly join us for the high tea. And I would like to thank all the volunteers who has made a very hard effort to make it successful. Thank you. Thanks.